Hello, everybody. Welcome to Watch Along Leeds. I'm Gary, and tonight I'm joined by.
Stuart from the disabled team. How we doing, Gary?
All right, Stuart, are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Let us know, chat, of course, if there's any audio issues or there's any visual issues, because I am told that we've had some internet problems today. So, Stuart, just to give you a heads up, if I do disappear randomly, I will try and my very best to get back on. Apparently, there's something that the internet provider has been. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you, but as soon as I get the chance, I'll be on the phone getting angry at them. Stu, we're here, as of course, the title I think says it all. It's QPR Press Conference reaction. Quite a few bits and pieces that perhaps we picked up on, perhaps that we're just trying to absorb because it's only happened in the last couple of hours. I've had a very busy evening with the little one, and it's it's a strange one, Stu. Farker is a man who's been heavily criticised, I think, since that Southampton game. We'll just talk about the criticisms first. What things have you come across in terms of critiquing the manager and the team? Have you come across anything?
Well, look, a lot of criticism I've heard is about his team selection
Mm.
for the Southampton, opening team selection and stuff. Now, yeah, some of it's justified, but some of it's a bit far fetched for me. I mean, we were talking off air about people wanting his head on a plate. He's not the right man, get him sacked and stuff like that. I think that's pathetic. I think
Mm.
I think the guy's won two championships. It's the right man for the job. It were a bad day at office, and people just need to relax and stop being overreactional, shall we say?
Yeah, I think if you want to quote as one of the headlines that you've seen, you don't have to say where it's from. Just quote the headline that you were showing me just a little bit, a moment or two off air.
Oh
Something
yeah,
about. No
it's
need to
about
share it. No need to say who it is. Just read the
Barker
headline.
wanted to kill after the defeat, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, that's going a little bit too far. But there you go.
It's another fine example of sensationalism, and
Mm.
I think bending the words to win the click. To be honest with you, it's not something that I agree with. I understand why publications do it, but it's not something that I can say I support. Um, but on the contrary, he does say something similar, but word for word, he didn't actually say those words. I don't believe during the press conference, and this is something that we try and err on the side of caution when we're researching the videos, we're researching the opponent, we're coming up with video ideas or live stream ideas that we do try our very, very best to be factually accurate, correct, and obviously making sure that as the viewer what our opinion is versus what we're actually quoting or speaking about. So that's one point that I'd like to make sure that our viewers do know here on this channel, that Stu and I do try our very best to make sure that you're as informed as what we are, and you can be sure that Stuart and I have done some sort of research. We've done the background research into whatever it is we're talking about. And I mean, in the beginning when we first met, Stu, I think, am I right in saying that you said to me that, God, you do some research on these videos, you don't you?
I did, I do,
You
mate. Yeah, I
you
do.
said that to me, and I said, well, the reason there are reasons for that is that you don't want anyone coming back to you and saying, well, actually, you factually you're incorrect.
Yeah.
Number one, and this this live stream was terrible. I said that's the worst thing that can happen. I said, but then when you're forming opinions and you're expressing those opinions, you're then giving a stronger, more persuasive argument that, not that I'm right and you're wrong, but this is my opinion. This is what I believe, and if you believe something else, hopefully after you've heard what I said, perhaps you'll change your opinion. I mean, I think when I look at this press conference, he talks about. I'll just be kind of like skirting and brief as possible on this one. That he says key factors is to be as successful as possible. There are 3 games in 7 days. Player recovery is always a concern, and the sports science department are monitoring the players closely to make sure that they are in the optimal fitness, and they are fit enough to play the games. I mean, Stuart, we talked a bit about Liam Cooper. Was Liam Cooper, is he match fit? That's number one. Was he match fit for that Southampton game, do you think?
I think it's right. I think there's a difference, isn't there, between fit and match fit. I mean, he's fit, healthy wise, he's fit, but match fit, he seemed a yard off it for me. A
Yeah.
yard off at pace. What just his fault for that goal? Daniel Farke said that as well.
Yeah.
There were key points leading up to that goal. But should we be relying on him to be as number one centre back when Rodham are available?
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I get it that you don't change your winning team and all that sort of thing, but Rodon's been solid for us at the back. Now, I'm not saying the Cooper's finished. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, if use Cooper when needed, we didn't need to use him. We had Rodon there who could have been used, and it chose not to use him.
I mean, I've done a live stream with just a Leeds thing about a number of topics, and one of the things for me was, do you think perhaps we underestimated the opponent and thought, well, we'll put the lesser player out as a starting option? Cooper isn't quite as fast. He's a bit older. He's had a few more injuries. He needs some match minutes to get him up to match fitness. I mean, is that a possibility that perhaps it's not being considered?
Yeah, but also Gary as well. I mean, it wasn't just Cooper though, was it? I mean, if you're talking about match fitness, Somerville let that man run straight past him. He didn't even sprint to get back. He let him go. He just watched him to run past him, and he jogged back. So I think with Cooper, and as for underestimating him, I just think Southampton wanted it more than us, if I'm honest. I thought they wanted it more than we did.
They certainly seemed the hungrier team on the day, didn't they?
Definitely, 100%.
And I mean, even after that live stream, you sit there and you think there are actually things that I wanted to say that I didn't really say, and that was something that I thought about. I thought, that they looked hungrier for the 3 points. They looked like they were more eager to win that match.
Yeah.
We looked off the pace. We looked slow. We looked sluggish, lapsadaisical, and quite complacent in the respect that, oh well, you know what, they've had four losses on the bounce, and there ain't no way that we're going to get beaten by this lot. So don't worry, we don't need to worry about tracking back. Example, but I mean that first goal wasn't the only goal, it's like the other two. The build-up play. I mean, take nothing away from Southampton. What and we talked about this word. They were very, very effective compared to us. We matched them for things like possession, passing, and stuff like that. But I think we played, and when we did that watch along, I think we played a lot of sideways football and a lot of backwards football, and we're trying to play out from the back. We don't seem to have enough movement up front. Players Pirot's not getting the space. He's not trying to find the space. Pull the opponent's defenders around a little bit. And I think it was just, I still think back to that match. I'm like, I'm really disappointed, so disappointed with the whole overall thing. But tomorrow, that's Wednesday night for you guys. It's Thursday early hours for me. Presents a chance for us to put things right. This isn't a pre-match. We're trying to just stay focused on the press conference on this one, and we'll just go from that. He said that he's concerned about the differences, or he mentioned, should I say, Stuart? I won't say he's concerned, but he mentioned that the differences in kick-off times and days. You've got a 12:30 kickoff, then you've got a nighttime kickoff midweek, then you've got a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday or whatever it is. Do you think kickoff times make a difference to these footballers?
Well, it shouldn't do, should it? Because let's be honest, we've had early kickoffs, afternoon kickoffs, nighttime kickoffs for as long as I can remember. And Daniel Farker has been involved in Championship before with nighttime kickoffs, dinner time kickoffs, tea time kickoffs. Friday kickoff, Saturday kickoff, Sunday kickoff, Monday kickoff. He's been involved in all this lot before, so it shouldn't really make that much of a difference, really.
Yeah.
It ain't just Leeds. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you mentioned that, and I just wondered: is that a concern of his that they're having to adapt the daily routine, the body clock, the all of this stuff, and is that upsetting to the players? We talk about things like sleep cycles, recovery cycles, all of this sort of thing. And I wonder if that's on the back of his mind. But I mean, there's not what you can do about it. The league set the league set these things up. But I think one of the things that annoys Leeds fans more than most is that we seem to now be getting into a period of the season where the broadcasters are having more influence about moving games, shuffling games here, putting games there. Changing recovery times, obviously changing the club's schedules, and the worst part about that is, in my point of view, is what it's doing to the fans. Fans are booking travel arrangements, they're booking hotels, weeks and months in advance, and I think we've seen that this week with Leicester. The Leicester game, if you didn't already know, has been moved to, I think, the 3rd of November. I'm not sure. Is that an away game, Stuart? Can you?
I think it is.
It is.
I think it is. Let me just double check that for you, because, like he says, we want to make sure that we get this information right. But Gary, how many times? Well, how many times have our games been moved to go on Sky? Do you know what I mean? It's the first time.
No, but it's happening more. I think my point is, Stuart, is it's happening more frequently than ever. Perhaps that's causing everybody a headache, and I do feel sorry for the fans, because if you're traveling,
yeah, definitely,
you're traveling all these miles. Or you're making all these arrangements. You think, right, I'm arranged now. You imagine like a week ago, you think, right, I've got everything sorted out. I'm looking forward to this Leicester game.
Yeah,
Hotels booked.
yeah.
I've got car. Everything's all in order. Or I've got the train tickets. Let's say it's someone who doesn't drive and they have to have a train or a bus. Suddenly you're then thinking, oh no, they've changed the day and the time of kickoff. So that now means I've got to change the hotel, cancellation fee, rebooking. All of this sort of stuff. It must be an absolute headache, an absolute
Yeah,
nightmare
oh,
for travelling fans. Say that again, Stuart. Sorry.
yeah, it is an away game to Leicester, but you're right. Yeah, it will be a nightmare. It will be, and it's not
Absolutely.
fair.
It's not fair at all. And I know it's something that's been raised on a couple of forums recently that the broadcasters don't care about fans, and the clubs don't seem to be powerless to stand up to the broadcasters. That you can't just um, inconvenience people like this without giving. I mean, all right, you've given a month's warning, right? But it must just be an absolute nightmare trying to sort out the travel arrangements, especially if folk don't have a car. They're relying on public transport and all of that sort of stuff. Absolute pain. Yeah, it's 3rd of November now, and then that one is an 8 p.m. kickoff at Leicester. So look out for that one, folks. Of course, it's not something that we enjoy talking about, but as and when we see stuff, just a reminder: 3rd of November against Leicester, 8 p.m. At their ground. Is it still called the King Power Stadium or something like that?
Yeah,
I
King
don't know.
Power Stadium.
King
But do you know what
Power,
worse
yeah.
than this though, Gary? That's a Friday night. That's a
Yeah,
Friday night. People.
Stu, I think I'm losing you. Say that again.
The people, if that's a Friday night, so the people who actually go to work might have to make changing their work arrangements as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Friday is normally like the worst day to travel anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
If you're going anywhere, it's usually the busiest day. Um, it it absolute blooming that it makes me so cross. Does this sort of stuff
Mm.
that uh, they could just do whatever they want, and they don't care about the ramifications or anything like that. And people also might have to rebook. Imagine you have something booked in on a Friday night. Could be an evening do. You're going somewhere with friends, or there's a pre-arranged appointment, and suddenly, oh, the sorry mate, I can't make it because Leeds games
Mm.
being moved. So it's a total headache for everybody. The fans who travel pay a lot of money for it, and the rings that they have to jump through because of bloody Sky Sports or whoever it is that makes these decisions
Yeah.
just drives us nuts. And I know it's driving quite a few of you nuts out there. So yeah. He says that he was asked about, is the reaction disproportionate? He said that he never gets used to losing. He doesn't like it, and he says that he tries to hide his emotions and shoulders it from the players. He felt murderous, I think, is what he said. He didn't say he wanted to go out and kill somebody. I think that's a bit strong. But some outlets are sensationalising that, so I'll just touch on that a little bit more. He said that it's a stressful job, no more stressful than the Norwich one. He doesn't feel the pressure any more or any less than the Norwich job that he had. And he
Mm-hmm.
said that perhaps it's a little bit, some of the stuff that people have said banding around online is, just remember we've had 6 unbeaten games, we've gone 4 clean sheets. They had 4 chances and scored 3 goals. Is he right, Stu?
Well, yeah, of
I
course
mean,
it is. Yeah, of course he is. He's right. It's he's right what he says, isn't he? They had 4 chances and scored 3.
I mean,
That's them being clinical.
yeah. Are fans too emotionally invested, do you think?
I think it's just human nature, Gary. I think we're all invested in this football club. It don't matter who you support. We're all invested in this football clubs, aren't we? It's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was disappointed, but I can't think that I've sort of said anything too negative or written anything too negative online. That and just referring to a couple of comments I've seen going on one of the videos where, one supporter was hoping that Farke would have been sacked before this QPR press conference. It's not happened. And there are people out there speculating that he might walk. It's too big a job for him. I've heard that actually, Stu. I've seen some people say that this job is too big a job for Farke. He's not experienced enough to manage Leeds United.
Yeah, but he got Norwich promoted twice. You know what I mean? He got promoted twice with Norwich,
Yeah,
and he must have something about him to get a team promoted twice from this league.
mm,
So I think that's a bit over. I think that's just what's the word I'm looking for? Overreaction.
yeah. I mean, I've seen a couple of comments on that video, press conference video, and I don't know if you read the comments. And there's a couple of people on there, and they're thinking that the best that will finish is 6th this season.
Yeah, I've heard that. I saw
Graham,
that.
yeah, Graham Smythe said something along the lines of, "No team has ever come back to win a championship with this points deficit that we're facing now." Meaning
In
that the
Burnley, though.
points. Say that again.
In Burnley, when they were near under Vincent Company, they were near bottom at the table, weren't they?
I think they were in the beginning, yeah. But I think what he's trying to point out is that perhaps Burnley at this point had more points on the board, but they had
Right.
like 15 draws over an entire season, and they won a lot of games. But obviously, they would have lost a few as well. I don't think he'll change the lineup on Saturday. Adam, Stu and I were just talking about this off air, and I said the same thing, didn't I?
Mm.
I think I
You
more or
did.
less said the same thing. I think that he's gonna, because he's quite he seems to be quite a. We've heard these terms. He's principled, and he has a belief in himself and in the
Yeah.
system. And one thing that I said to Stu, this is off air, was, is Farke and have previous managers been scared of Liam Cooper and the influence that Liam Cooper has in the dressing room over all the other players? And is that why? Is that one of the reasons why we can expect that Liam Cooper's going to get picked? Because if he gets picked ahead of Rodon and Creswell against QPR, but you see, I just wonder if he's thinking it's a lesser opponent. They're not going to pose us too much of a problem. Cooper should be all right for this job.
Possibly. Possibly.
I hope that's not the case, because I think if you compare the three of them, yeah, you're probably going to go Rodon, aren't you? Followed closely by Cresswell. I mean, that pretty much puts Liam Cooper then at third choice, doesn't it? Cooper is not as good as Rodon. You see, it's not just us that's saying these things, is it, Stu? There's a lot of fans out there saying more or less the same thing. Um, I have a sneaky feeling he's just going to stick two fingers up to fans on Wednesday night and just say, you know what, I'm the manager and I get paid to be the manager, and you lot don't. So this is his starting 11, and he'll try, and I think he's probably going to stick to his guns. So I think when Mally's doing the spreadsheet this week, Big Mally's doing the spreadsheet this week, I think I'm going to go for the same starting 11 against that we had against Southampton, and I think he's
I
probably going to go with the line of, these players are back from injury, they need match minutes, and if we can get some match minutes under them now, that'll benefit us later on. He's not taking the short term view. That means he's taking a longer term view that there are likely to be injuries to Cooper anyway. Perhaps Pascal and the other two lads. It's a lot because they're a lot younger. It's a lot easier for us to, if there is an injury, it's a lot easier for us to put them in replacement of rather than the other way around. And I'm wondering if that is the decision making process that's going on. The process that we don't really know about. Weird, isn't it, Stu? Weird.
Gary, if he does do what you just said about
Yeah,
picking the same team, with the Leeds United fan base, the way the Leeds United fan base is, do
yeah.
you think he'll start losing credibility? Farker, I mean.
I think there'll be calls and there'll be certainly a lot of discussion um, about the decision making process, and there'll be
Yeah.
people out there saying that he's not serious about the job. He's just here to milk it for the money, and he can't possibly be a serious coach after that performance on Southampton that he starts with the same starting 11. I mean, there was talk in that press conference about selecting an entirely different starting 11, wasn't there?
Well,
And I'm like,
I said that if he started an entire complete 11, I
yeah,
couldn't argue with it because of the performances from the of the players from the Southampton game. But you'd expect him to make at least two changes, I think.
yes, in my opinion, I think you probably do something about Dan James's positioning out on that right wing, and you might probably put Somerville out there and probably try and get them both rather than hogging the touchline. Try and get them in supporting Rutter a little bit more, supporting Pirot a little bit more. But you see, the thing is that it's that tracking back weakness from Somerville that
Yeah,
seems to
it's
have
poor.
been identified, and other teams are going to they'll have seen that and they're going to try and exploit that and expect that if he starts with Somerville, QPR are going to be looking at that. I don't agree with these comments. Hang on, does does that mean that you
That's
don't
some
agree with
saying.
yourself?
No, that some he doesn't agree with comments that some are saying.
Some are saying, right, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand that. But anyway, Rutter should never be playing in that role. It's Perot's job, not Rutter. Yeah, I mean, I. This has been the debate raging on, hasn't it, over the last couple of days that Perot, we bought him to stick the ball in the back of the net. We didn't buy him to be, uh, a second and number 10. We didn't buy him to be a sideways passer, a back passer, someone
Hmm.
who's trying to win the ball back. His job is, in my opinion, shove him up front, knock the central defenders about a bit, bully them, and try and create yourself an opportunity, and obviously get the support from Rutter, from James, Nonto, Somerville, or what Pervader, or whoever we've got on the
But
day. On.
Daniel Farker's not playing him like that.
No, he ain't.
And that's the
Weird.
problem. I mean, there was a thing about could Bamford be back in contention to get a start against tomorrow night? But who do you drop if you bring Bamford in? There's a lot of questions, Gary. A lot of questions.
He's going to drop Rutter. I mean, there are even fans out there who want to see Rutter dropped and Bamford replacing Rutter.
Wow.
Your other option is, of course, Pirot. But Pirot, I mean, I think I've heard it said that Pirot's missed 8 chances
Yeah.
and he's scored 4 goals. So he's not on a 5 goals, sorry. And he's not clinical enough in front of goal. That's not bad. It's not a bad start to the season when you consider really what the opponents that we're having, and you can expect that your striker's not going to score every time they have a chance. That's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? The chances are going to go. That will miss chances.
Yeah, constantly.
Of course, they're not, and they might even hit a goal drought, which is even worse. If Pirot's goals suddenly dry up for 5 games on the bounce, where are the goals coming from? Where are the wins coming from? Because at the minute, we're going to be, we don't really have an answer to that question. We're not seeing too many goals from other people. Dan James's finishing is questionable. Somerville is is far too wide to be scoring a lot of goals. And Rutter, of course, he's scored a couple of fine goals for us, but
He's missed 10-on-1, Sam.
He's missed a few sitters, hasn't he? He's struggled
Yeah.
at times. I said this the other day, Stu, on another live stream. I said, perhaps we think we're better than we actually are, and perhaps we've been flattered over that little stretch of 6 unbeaten games, and probably got away with a couple of iffy decisions and stuff like that. Do you think that's the case?
I do.
We're perhaps how would you say that? Blowing our own trumpet a bit much? Maybe getting a bit too excited?
Well, we're confident, aren't we? We've been overly confident.
Oh yeah. I think we've been full of confidence, and perhaps that result. It was a stark reminder that actually, you know what? If your manager's not on the ball and you lot turn up and you're not on the ball, you're gonna get opened up, and it's. I remember that watch along, and I said to you, Stu, I said, when that 3rd goal went in, I said, if we don't book our ideas up here, we're going to be on the end of a real pasting. I'm talking 6, 7, 8-0 because we hadn't scored at the time, and the way it was going, it was bad, and it was really bad. But you see, it didn't change anything at half time, and that's what a lot of fans were really upset about. That we're way off the pace. We can see that. Cooper's struggling. He struggled. Shaq's struggled. Somerville, if he's not interested in tracking back. But you see, Nonto, there were a couple of games earlier on in the season that we were watching Nonto, and he gets to halfway line and he just won't track back. He won't even try to track back. And when he says on it, what he means is, are you committed? Are you going to put that 100% in? Are you going to track back? Because that, to me, is the hardest part of the game. Especially when you think you've done a lot of running, you're getting up the final third. A ball goes missing, the opponent, or we turn over possession to the opponent, and the opponent catches us on a break, and we've seen it time and time again. Luke Ayling suffering, Firpo suffering, Cooper getting found out. And if we are committing that number of men forward, is it really a good idea that you have two guys just stood on halfway line? Because you put someone, I mean, look at Armstrong. His speed, the speed that he went across the back of Cooper was,
Frightening.
frightening. And by the time Cooper had turned round, you play
He's
it
gone.
back in slow motion, chat. By the time Cooper's turned around, he's literally on the 6 yard box, at the edge of the 6 yard box. He was that quick, latching onto that ball, and then all he has to do is clip it over Melier, bang, it's 1-0, and 1 minute 30. Nobody's really got into the stride. But Southampton, whew, mate, if it were a dog racing track, that we're still in the traps, and Southampton are finished.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I do.
You know,
I agree with that.
madness. Jadon Anthony, Stu, you mentioned about Jadon Anthony. What are your thoughts there so far?
Well, with Jadon Anthony, I mean, look, he mentioned about him needing a bit more time, didn't he? He didn't have no pre-season. Um,
Yeah,
he, he he mentioned he says that he settled in well, but obviously he needs a bit more time to get used to playing at Leeds. And he had a great start. He had a great, when he scored his goal, he took his goal well, but he just needs a bit more time. He spoke about Rondon in the same sentence, I believe.
yeah. Rodon was spoken about
Yeah,
in the same, and I think it was that segment where they're talking about stats and all of that sort of thing. He wouldn't go too much into that, but don't worry, chat, because we can get the stats. We can analyse these players, can't we, Stuart?
we can. Yeah, we
We
can.
can. So let's see. He mentions there that there's 3 away games. Only conceded 1 goal. This is QPR, I believe. QPR's away record is over the last 3 games is very good.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
conceded 1 goal, and he's expecting that they're going to play really deep. Now, I mean, this is all the new modern day terminology that I'm not, I keep hearing this phrase popping up. Low block is what they're going to play. We're anticipating that. I mean, what sort of ways are we going to evade this or unlock this low block type of team? I mean, a comparison was made to they're literally going to do a Sheffield Wednesday and try and defend for 90 minutes.
I think
Catch it on a counter.
I think with QPR they're a bit more than that, especially on road. They're a lot better away from home than they are at home at this moment in time. And
Yeah.
I believe they're going to play with 3 at the back with the ball and 5 at the back without the ball. And it's down to us to break it, Gary. It's down to us to use the players that we've got at our disposal and trying to find a way of getting through them. I mean, I remember Daniel Farker saying a couple of weeks ago, look, managers have been practicing for 30 years on how to break down teams. They're going to be practicing the same thing for the next 30 years because I don't think there's a definitive answer. You just got to be quick 1-2 passing. I think, we can't afford to go backwards all the time like we have been doing because that won't break down low block. They'll love it if we keep going backwards and side to side. We need to be a quick, accurate, and decisive, and take his chance when it does come. We have to be clinical because you're not going to get many. You're not going to get many. Brilliant opportunities with teams who play at low block. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I'm just looking at a couple of the averages here, and in most areas, QPR are below the rest of the EFL. What they are ahead of the rest of the EFL is crosses and long
Long
balls.
balls.
Those are the only two areas where QPR are ahead of the rest of the EFL. So we can assume that they're going to be playing some kind of Wimbledon Route One style football, where they're going to have somebody with a bit of pace up front. Uh, they'll stick them on halfway line and hope that uh, we'll try and catch Leeds on the counter attack. And as soon as we get the ball, we're just going to bray it as high up the pitch as we can, get you running onto it. We'll come chasing after it like a pack of greyhounds. Hold it up, or go try and get yourself a goal, or win yourself a corner, or some kind of maybe even a penalty, corner, a free kick. And then we're straight back on it then.
Maybe
Were,
that's what we need to do, Gary. Mix it up a little bit.
I've said something like this in the past, Stu, where we shouldn't be afraid to during a match of trying something,
Yeah.
adjusting our tactics based on what the opposition is doing. Because if you sit and play the same thing week in week out, you know, we had this with Marsh, and I said back then that we're too predictable. See, it was something like I think about 5 games on trot, something like that. I was like, "Oh, here we go," and I remember saying it during one at watch alongs. It's not long now, chat. 58 minutes, and guess what he's doing? He's getting Klitsch ready as a substitute. And I think we went a few games, and it was the same thing. And like literally, you're putting Klitsch on. Like, what are you doing? So there were a couple of names that were mentioned. They've got Asmir Begovic there. They're not the goals prevented. They're not that good of a team, or the rankings aren't that great. But it's against you. This could really be a banana skin fixture if we lose this match on Wednesday. You know, there's going to be trouble, isn't there? I think for Farker.
I think if we lose, I mean, look, if we lose this match on Wednesday, the two questions will be: why can't we beat a team with a low block? And number two is, is what we're doing actually working? I think they'll be the two questions won't get asked.
Yeah.
But I mean, until we see that team news, till we see if he does make any changes.
Mm.
I mean, if you don't make any changes, Gary, there's going to be questions asked before the match even kicks off. And then if we don't get a result, that's just going to add to it. It's going to get a whole lot worse. And it's
Yeah.
not some a new manager, a relatively new manager at a club needs.
Yeah.
5 minutes into his into his spell as
Yeah.
manager of Leeds United, because we know what us fans are like. We know what us fan base is like. We're pretty, a lot of them are a lot more knowledgeable than I am, and they ask the difficult questions.
Mm. I think a loss. I mean, it is unthinkable at the moment. It is absolutely unthinkable. But I do remember that Jack Colback's name was mentioned during that particular press conference, and apparently he's returned from injury. Is that true,
Yeah,
Stu?
it's back in first team for QPR. Now, what Mally touched on it, and he reminded me of something. I mean, apparently we were in for him, weren't we, as well, at one point?
I think we probably were. Yeah, isn't he ex-Sunderland,
Sunderland.
isn't he?
Yep,
And
that's the one.
then didn't he go to? I saw a video about him this week. Didn't he go to Newcastle? He'd spent all his life at Sunderland, and then I saw a video about him, and it was something like top footballing traitors, and he came up on it, and the story goes something along the lines of that he was at Sunderland. He came out and said, "Yeah, I love it here, and I want to spend the rest of my career here," and blah blah blah. And then, like a week later, he's
It was
signing on the dotted line up at St James's Park,
like, yeah,
putting a
I
black and
remember.
white shirt on, something like that. I
The
mean,
one
they
thing I
must have been.
remembered about him, look, Gary, is
Aye,
he were like he were a dogged player. He
yeah,
didn't give you a moment's peace on ball.
no,
He were in it. Yeah, he didn't have a minute's thought. He didn't have a minute's thought with him because you couldn't think, because if you thought he were on you, he'd check ball
mm,
off you. I remember him really well.
yeah, decent player.
Yeah,
Probably the sort of player we would find useful.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Trying to break up opponents, and especially if we've got counter attacking opponents like we've seen recently. I mean, my predictions, Joe. I mean, I'm not going to go specific on this, but I think they're going to come for a point at QPR. I think Farker's expecting that they're going to be coming for a point, but he said, "quote unquote," we must be brutal
Hmm.
with our finishing. Are we not
Yeah, yeah.
brutal enough?
No, well, we're not clinical enough, that is for sure.
Yeah,
One goal scored in every four attempts is 25% in it. We need to up that. I'm not saying that we need to be 100%, because not even Erling Haaland's 100%. He misses chances as well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He has off days, but we could do with upping it to like 50%.
mm,
One in every two, because we do create chances. We're just not
mm.
clinical with them. That's the problem.
It's shot accuracy, isn't it? And
Yeah,
being able to test the keeper. And I think we noted against the Sheffield Wednesday match that they had a shot accuracy of about just over 50%.
yeah,
Leeds was more like, when we analysed it, it said it's more like 25%. And
yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
but this isn't this. Then we've gone in and looked at other games. We've found a similar pattern that, when we are in front of goal or these chances do come, that we're squandering these chances, and
Well, that's why
you
we brought Ruti Perot in to see if we could change that, because we've
yeah,
always been that problem. We've always had that problem, always.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, is Patrick Bamford the answer to that then? And my answer is no.
I just don't trust his. I just don't look. I think he's capable. On his day, he's capable. Definitely capable. The
Mm,
problem is, and I've said this all along, it's that injury record, Gary. We can't rely on him. You can't
yeah,
rely on him to be fit. I mean, you don't even know if he's going to get through a game. Never mind a group of games.
yeah, yeah. Hold on a minute. Something's just buzzed in my ear. Can you hear me, Stuart?
Yeah, but I can't see you. Your camera's gone off.
Can't see me. Camera's gone off, is it again? I don't
Don't
know
worry,
what happened
everybody.
there.
The beautiful Gary's still about. I can still hear him. I just
More.
get
We
more.
just need Lee. We just need Lee to come down and laugh at me.
Yeah, you're dropping upstairs.
Yeah,
I don't think Bamford should be not near the pitches. He has too many injuries. There you
yeah,
go. Adam was saying the same thing. Most
yeah.
definitely, he's not the best now. He's gone. What you mean, Bamford, Adam? I'm assuming you mean Bamford. Yeah. Look, he splits. He divides the room. Does Bamford? He divides the room. I mean, someone made a brilliant point today on press conference in chat. We were talking about you know, changing squad around, and somebody says, "Oh, drop Shackleton and bring Ayling back," right? And then this, I can't remember who it was, but someone says, "Isn't it amazing?" 2 weeks ago, we were begging for Ayling to be dropped out of the team. Now that Strike's had a bad game, we're begging for him to be back in team again. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's crazy. It is. It's crazy. And this is why I'm glad that I am a Leeds United manager, because You can't you, you can't do right for doing wrong sometimes, unless everything's going right, clean sheets like it has been doing, and everything's rosy, and we're scoring goals and we're winning games. When it starts going wrong, the pressure really adds up. It really does. I don't. I mean, look, I don't just think it's Leeds United fan base, but I do think we're one of the worst fan bases for put expectations of us club.
We're a very fickle bunch, aren't we? And I think it's because we demand to be back in that Premier League, Stu.
Yeah.
But
Well, we want to be like big club again, don't we? We want to be like big club again.
and well, I mean, the thing is right now we are the big fish in the small pond.
Yes.
And if we go up into the Premier League, that isn't going to be the case. We're going to be a mediocre, medium-sized fish in a pond full of other much larger fish, and
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to have the clout to do that. I mean, I think we probably do. There's a lot of things to look to be positive about. The question again then is Farker the right man to lead us in the Premier League? But I mean, that's a question that we don't need to worry about that just yet. We're a long way off needing to answer that question, I think, and it's not something that we want to address. He thinks that they're going to be coming to play a counter-attacking style of football. He says that they have got threats, but they will play with five at the back when they are not in possession. He says that we have to tire them, and then we have to be fitter than. I think I added a few words here that we have to be fitter than them in after 60 minutes. But Stu, I think when you're playing these teams that are playing counter-attacking football, it doesn't really matter. You can't really tire them out because they're not doing that much work anyway. It's not like they're
No.
going box to box. Trying to run them off the park is not the solution because they're just going to sit deep and they'll be quite happy punting the ball up long. We'll just advance 5-10 yards, lads, and wait for it to come back. And then if it starts getting close, we'll just dig in again, get tight again, and we just do the same thing. Rinse and repeat is the motto I think that QPR are going to do. Stu,
I think it's more of being more at it mentally. Mentally tire them out from doing the same thing, rinse and repeating, and then catching them out in the last 10-15 minutes at games. It must be mentally tiring doing the same thing, low block, defend, kick the ball long, defend, kick the ball long. That must be mentally tiring.
I mean, I agree. It can't be. It's not productive, is it? But it's not entertaining.
No,
but these teams, they're not bothered about entertaining the crowd. They're not bothered about pleasing even their own fans. What they're bothered about is can we get enough points on the board to survive? As number one. Number two is, can we compete at the level that we need to compete at to comfortably finish mid-table? And you think QPR are probably going to be a mid-table outfit this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Stu, honestly, I haven't even had time to look at anything at the moment, but I can assume that. Let me have a think. That they're not doing that well in the league. Does that set? I don't even because I haven't done a pre-match. I haven't done. I haven't done any research on them, shall we say? So I don't know very much.
I think the 21st or 22nd in league.
Right.
Lose a lot of games at home. Win more games on the road. they've had a few injuries. They haven't been able to just buy players because of FFP and stuff. But they have got players coming back, like Kovac coming back. Their manager said that they might have to start looking at the youth squad. Just they've got some talented players in there. They've only got a squad of 17 players of QPR. That's all
Wow,
they've got, a squad of 17 players.
that's really bad, isn't it? I mean
Their
that.
average age is 27-year-old.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Our average age is about 23 or something, or 22. It's something like that. We 15% of our under 20, we've played 15% of the time of all the games combined this season have been played by under 21s. I
yeah,
think with the QPR, I think it's like 7.5%
yeah.
of playing under 21s in games. That's why their average age is older than ours.
Mm,
But look, they've only conceded one goal away in, is it 3 away games?
yeah,
So they know how to defend. That is for sure.
yeah. Apparently, like I say, I haven't done the pre-match on this, but they've got Paul, who's on 3 goals, Colback on 2, Dykes, Dozzle, and Armstrong are on 1 goal apiece at the moment. So you've got a centre midfielder and a forward on 1 goal. Centre midfielders Colback,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got this Paul. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done the full breakdown on this one yet, but already we can see that they're not great at scoring. They're down there in the bottom of the league. But Stuart, I think there's a lot of similarities between the Sheffield Wednesday game and this
Yeah, yeah,
game.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Uh, that they're an underachieving, underperforming team, and they've only got 17 players. I mean, I find that hard to believe that they'll even get
Yeah,
through to the transfer window, because that means that they can't even fill the substitute bench, which is a problem we know all too well about, isn't it, Stuart?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. We won that long ago. We were in that same position, and we were
Yeah,
doing that in Premier League.
yeah. I mean, it must be
So
utter desperation for some of these teams, like Um, and no disrespect to smaller clubs, but QPR should be. I can't believe that they're not getting these youth. If they've got these youth guys in, why haven't they promoted them? If they're struggling to fill seats on the subs
I think
bench.
what they've been trying to do, is give them game time in under 21s, then bring them through.
Mm,
Um, you think about it. I mean, let's be honest. The Championship, I think, it's the most physical league out of them all.
yeah,
I think it's the most physical and demanding league in Europe, if I'm honest. So you've
yeah,
got a load of under 21s, and you're just going to chuck them straight into the deep end against these men who play in Championship. They're
mm,
going to the likelihood is they're going to fail.
mm,
They need to get experienced minutes, and the best they can hope for is in under 21s. So this is
yeah,
probably why they haven't been bringing them through as yet. But according to the QPR did a fan forum on Monday, and
mm,
the manager says that we will have to start bringing them through with the crowd congestion,
mm,
not the fixture congestion what they've had, because I think they play Wednesday and then they play again on Friday.
mm. Hey,
So
Wednesday,
mm,
Friday.
yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah,
Jesus,
Wednesday and
Jesus
Friday.
Christ.
So you know what I mean. It's. Well, again, it's what the championship's all about. I'm sure it's Wednesday and Friday.
Well, it's Saturday, sure. They've got Blackburn, at
It's that
home,
Wednesday,
and
Saturday.
that's Saturday. Yeah, I've got to say, I mean that's bad enough, in it? It's Wednesday, Saturday, but I mean Wednesday, Friday. God, I'm glad that they don't have to do that. I would be,
Did
but
they
then
play
on
last Friday then?
uh,
Did they play last Friday?
they must have done. Yeah, the 30th of September they played, and they lost
Yeah.
against Coventry. Um, but when I look at this, I'm like, we're talking about fixtures. They've got another 3 games in 7 days there at the end of October. It's not too bad
Mm.
for them because there's an international break coming up. So Saturday 21st they're playing Huddersfield. 24th, which is Tuesday, they're playing West Brom, and then again on Saturday they're playing Leicester at home. So I mean, that's 5 games there in
Yeah.
for the rest of the month, but 3 of them are in the final sort of that final full week of October, which is it's mad in it when
Crazy.
you're having to do
It's crazy.
3. But you see, championship teams, if I remember rightly, I don't think they used to stop playing when there was an international break on, but now that they seem to do that, don't they? I
Yeah,
think,
championships, Premier League and Championship are both get international time off, don't they?
yeah, they used to just continue playing, but now seems that that's not the case. Right. Well, I mean, I think we're just about there in terms of this press conference.
Hmm.
But I got up to about 18 minutes because I was going to re-watch it, and I haven't noted anything beyond that, Stu. So if you want to just summarise that a little bit for us, uh,
Well,
I'd be
basically,
grateful.
basically, he got asked. He got asked about right. He he got asked. He got asked about did, the Sheffield Wednesday game help us prep? And he said, yes, a little because of the shape and setup. I would say it's quite similar. Details are different. QPR are more of a threat on the counter. Sheffield um, did not get one chance. I expect we need to be aware of the counters. Um, they have good options up front. They are technical players in midfield, and we need to be more aware. And a 5 man at the back, we should use the Sheffield game to speak about things. So he brought that up, and then he got asked about is there a balance between urgency and patience to score first? And he says it's the key to stay balanced and prepare our offensive actions. Produce one loss after another because you are too greedy or you get frustrated and concede the counters, make them shift and work and run. And we need to take our chance we need to take our chance in the second half. Last time at Ellen Road, opened them up after investing so much in the first 60 minutes. Scored 3 late on. Would like to lead earlier, or and it would make our life more simple, but we need our fans to be patient and help us exhaust the opponent.
Yeah, I think you've done a really good job of summarising that there. I mean, I think the thing is, Stu, is if we get to 1 hour in this game and we're not at least ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, even earlier, I think if we're not ahead by half time, there's going to be uh, some of the crowd getting on the players' backs a little
groaning.
bit,
There'll be a lot of groans coming out,
and there'll
won't
be
they,
a
and
lot of
booing at half
groaners
time.
and booing at half time, especially if we're not ahead going in at half time, because I think do we expect too much?
Well, if you're going for promotion, if you're genuinely on about getting promoted, then shouldn't you be targeting these games against teams in the bottom half of the table as must-win games, or are we more of a team where we're gonna build towards getting promotion, seeing where we are at Christmas, and then going again. You see, it all depends on what people's aspirations are as a Leeds United fan. Do we want instant promotion? Do we want to see do we want to see productivity on the pitch game by game? Because it all depends on what sort of a fan you are, Gary. I mean, I'd like to see us be more, see what production improving his production on pitch. Then worry about promotion later. But if you're a fan who wants to get instantly promoted, instant success, this is the team you should be beating comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, when I think back, Kinnear was gave an interview, didn't he, to Square Ball, and he more or less said that we'll get promoted and we'll finish top two.
Yeah,
But at the moment, the points averages don't tell that story, and I think
we need to
when
improve, vastly
well,
improve.
we need to um, beating QPR convincingly. I think is the word I want to choose. It needs to be a convincing victory. I think, but if it is a convincing victory, that keeps the Wolves away from the door, and then hopefully you get another result against Bristol at the weekend. Then there's that big international break coming up, which is, I think, that more or less is a fortnight, isn't it? I think, Stuart. If it's anything like the QPR fixtures, I'm just going to have a look at now, chat, actually. But I think you've just got to go out with the mentality of we need to go out, we need to win, and we'll do whatever it takes. 100%. And we're going to have to up the game, we're going to have to up the tempo, and we're going to have to impose ourselves right from the first minute on this match. And if we can get an early goal or two, that's going to really settle everybody down, and we're going to be all right. Stu, when you talk about this sort of thing, it's like, Christ Almighty, it even sounds like bloody Jesse, the ghost of Jesse Marsh coming back, doesn't it? Score a goal as quick as you can. Everybody, you don't bother keeping your structure, just go follow it ball around, put pressure on the ball, and get it in the net. And that's literally what Marsh was telling him to do. Things are a lot more controlled under Farker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Stu, after that international break, look at that fixture. Unbelievable. 21st of October, it's away at Norwich. 25th of October, away again at Stoke. And then the big one, the local derby that the whole world is wanting to watch. It's Leeds United versus Huddersfield Town.
And they found a bit of form at late as well.
And they've got a new manager. They found a bit of form. And, of course, the new manager is...
Darren
Moore. So, there we go. It's, by the time we get to playing that, Stu, we could be facing a Huddersfield Town side that's on, 3 wins on the bounce, and they're unstoppable. God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, we can't.
The dog botherers. Eh?
I'll be praying. I mean, I'm not a God person. I'm not a church person or all. But even I'll be praying that night before that we get a result against them. Everybody will be praying that we get a result. We can't lose to Huddersfield. It just can't happen. It don't feel right when it happens.
We've got a long way to. It feels like we've got a long way to get there, doesn't it? But I'll tell you what, it'll come as in a blink of an eye. I think, but it'll be great to have a little rest with these international breaks. Won't it? We'll be twiddling at home with our thumbs like. Shall we make some content? Nah, I tell you what we'll do. We'll just put our feet up and relax for a little bit and just enjoy the little bit of time off. I mean, we've got to beat Huddersfield. But I mean, the Norwich one, the Daniel Farker connection against Norwich. I mean, that's huge. Imagine how much time and effort we're going to be making, live streams and videos about that. It's just going to be, I mean, that's going to be drama all over, isn't it? That's going to be like a double dose of drama. We have Delia, Daniel, Delia. I can't wait. Be like a soap opera.
I mean, I know
Where are you?
Yeah, Daniel saying, I'm over here. No, but I don't want to look too far ahead, but with that game, even Daniel Farker will want to get a result against his former employees, won't he? You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Well, he will, because he didn't leave on good terms, I don't think. And Delia, put the sausage in the oven, Delia.
You should be whacking him with a rolling pin.
He should be out whacking him with a rolling pin.
You're chasing him around Ellen Road tunnel with rolling pin ready for him.
We need to be careful here, because this conversation could go south pretty quickly. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap this live stream up. Look, chat, thank you very much for joining. If you managed to make it through all of this way, I'm going to leave us a recommendation up here from YouTube. It'll be over there somewhere above Stuart said, and above my head I'll put a subscribe button for your convenience. Stu, any final words?
No, look, let's just hope Daniel Farker can get a result tomorrow against QPR, and let's hope we can put right let's hope we can get back to winning ways. That's what I want to see. I mean, you don't know what you long, Gary, aren't you, tomorrow?
I'll say cheers to that, Stuart. Let's see about the watch along. I hope that we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, Stuart's dying to do it, I think, aren't you?
Shall we do? I'm easy, mate. I'm easy. You weren't worried about what time will it be morning? Quarter to 2.
Don't worry about me, Stuart. We'll talk about that off air. All the very best to you, chat. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All the best.
Bye bye.